Hello again. I'm sure that we all know that in advertisements for almost any product in Britain, black people are massively overrepresented. The impression sometimes given is that people of African and Caribbean heritage make up at least 50% of the country's population, rather than the actual proportion, which is fewer than 5%. The same thing is, of course, very noticeable in television dramas as well. The case is very different when considering anything at all which is undesirable or off-putting. For instance, if a newspaper article or a news website wishes for a stock image to illustrate a story about an arrest, they invariably use a white person, perhaps a close-up of somebody's wrists handcuffed together. Suddenly, they are unable to locate the stock image which features somebody with a dark skin. Curious, no? Or let's say that you wish to do a piece about paedophiles and you want one of those blurry and unidentifiable images which is supposed to show a child molester. Here too, only white men are considered appropriate. Nobody would dream in such circumstances of showing a person with dark skin who might be a Pakistani or Caribbean. It must be a white person. All this has a subliminal effect upon us, as it is combined with the modern conventions of casting in television programmes, in which it is an unwritten rule that villains must be white rather than black, and that black men are always shown as sympathetic, compassionate family men rather than irresponsible rogues. Somebody drew my attention to a perfect instance of this tendency this morning, and it was one which had never before occurred to me. I'm not a smoker, and so hardly ever come across cigarette packets. To deter folk from taking up the habit, there are colour photographs now on cigarette packets of people suffering from cancer and various other unpleasant medical disorders caused by smoking, such as gangrene. These pictures are appallingly graphic and show some horrible things happening to people's bodies. Only to the bodies of white people, though, oddly enough. Just as with criminals, the unwritten rule is that only white people must be used for such photographs. I say unwritten rule, but so prevalent is this business that for all I know to the contrary, there is actually some formal code of practice which forbids the use of people with dark skins in undesirable photographs, such as being shown in handcuffs or suffering from cancer. As I say, I'm sure even those who do not care over much for the kind of things which I say on this channel will know all about this. It's so glaringly obvious that it would be difficult not to understand these rules. The remorseless drip, drip, drip of this visual propaganda must be having some effect on the great mass of people in this country. Every single television drama shows white men as being invariably the fools or villains, with a kind, caring, and intelligent black man to set them straight. It makes no odds to a man of my age, but I wonder what effect all this is having on the self-image of young white boys. They are already being made to feel guilty for being sexist and potential rapists at school. And of course, in history lessons, they are told they are to blame for the slave trade and the institutional racism which runs through British society like a stick of rock. Then, when they settle down in the evening to watch television, they're constantly exposed to this nonsense. Does anybody think that they could escape quite unscathed from this absolutely relentless tide of propaganda?